In the 17th century, a Japanese samurai named Miyamoto Musashi fought over 60 life-or-death duels. He never lost a single one. But the writings he left behind in the Book of Five Rings reveal a different source of his power. His absolute advantage came from a highly disciplined psychological framework. Fast forward 400 years, and the stakes of our daily lives look different. We aren't facing rival swordsmen. We are battling sudden career setbacks, tense relationships, and a constant, overwhelming wall of digital noise. When confronted with these modern obstacles, our default instinct is to apply brute force. We complain about unfair circumstances, we grind through exhausting hours trying to outwork the problem, or we let raw emotion dictate our immediate reactions. We fail in these external arenas because we completely ignore the internal ones. To reach a state where you are effectively undefeated in modern life, you have to follow Musashi's specific strategic progression, starting from the inside out. The first step is what Musashi called the battle with reality. Most people drain their daily energy fighting their own expectations of how people and markets should behave, rather than accepting how they actually operate. Musashi regularly faced opponents who were taller, stronger, and heavily armed. Instead of resenting the odds, he accepted the reality of the terrain and the enemy, then built a strategy that turned those exact disadvantages into leverage. Once you stop arguing with reality, the focus shifts inward to true self-mastery. This requires abandoning the modern obsession with waiting to feel motivated. Motivation is fragile and heavily dependent on your mood. Discipline is a reliable mechanism. It requires you to execute your daily habits day in and day out, whether you feel enthusiastic about them or utterly exhausted. Today, that discipline is under attack by the dopamine loops of constant digital notifications and by an unchecked ego that actively convinces us we already know enough. You can memorize every business tactic and communication hack in the world, but until your mind is focused and stripped of its ego, those external skills are entirely useless. This internal discipline dictates exactly how you engage with external conflict. You can see this perfectly in Musashi's most famous duel against the highly feared swordsman Sasaki Kojiro. The two men agreed to meet on a small, isolated island for a fight to the death, but Musashi intentionally delayed his arrival. As the hours passed, Kojiro's patience snapped, his concentration fracturing before a single blade was drawn. Kojiro defeated himself with his own anger. Musashi prioritized careful observation and deliberate strategy over raw physical effort. Translate that to a modern professional setting. If you are harshly criticized in a heated meeting, the strategic move is to pause, observe the room, and choose your response deliberately rather than snapping back defensively. He took this a step further by refusing to adopt a single fighting style, constantly shaping his tactical approach to exploit the specific weaknesses of the opponent standing in front of him. Strict routines and fixed mindsets create fatal vulnerabilities. Whether you are navigating a volatile economy or a complex relationship, your absolute greatest advantage is the ability to adapt to the terrain while keeping your forward momentum intact. There is one final, inescapable human element that threatens all of this: fear. Whether it is a lethal blade swinging toward you in the 17th century or a massive financial risk today, the fear of the unknown is a permanent fixture in life. Musashi understood that courage is never the magical absence of fear. Courage is the conscious decision to act with purpose, even when you are completely terrified of the outcome. This courageous action drives continuous learning. True mastery is an ongoing commitment to evolution, demanding that you keep refining your skills even after you've reached the peak of your success. The text of the Book of Five Rings survives today because it functions as a precise framework for identifying and destroying your own internal limitations. The ultimate triumph is never over a competitor, a difficult colleague, or a shifting market. It is achieving a level of self-mastery so absolute that no external force can ever dictate your direction.